Good evening to all of you, all the dignitaries present today. Thank you to Parul University, management, principal sir, faculty members, non-teaching staff, who all are responsible for making this expert session possible. Last but not the least, all the students who have joined today. I must acknowledge the fact that I'm very excited to be a part of this session along with many dignitaries and faculty members, uh, sharing the same platform with them. So thank you. Thank you all the students. Thank you all the faculty members, the dean, and the various people who are there today and have been responsible for making this session successful. So let us start the session. Every day, I talk to around 400 students every day. This is my fifth session of the day, where on an average, typically 200 to 400 students join the session. The reason of telling you this is, yes, this is what excites me, talking to students, mentoring the students, and this is what me and my company is doing over the last few years. SkillEdge, we are redefining, making diploma graduates, engineers, and postgraduates employment ready. That's what we do. And we are doing it in a manner which is different from Udemy, Coursera, Swam, NPTL. How we are different? So we are an edtech platform, and every student in SkillEdge is experiencing three things which makes us different. Number one, you are taught only that much content that is required to crack the interview for a particular job title. So content that is required to crack the interview, only that much content. In an easy to understand language, the language that you are hearing right now, in that language. Once you learn the content, then you have to practice. And the practice needs to be done on real-time industry exercises. So first is knowledge, second is practice. And the third is mentoring. Every student in SkillEdge gets mentored by 3 industry mentors. So it's 3 teachers for 1 student. And that's how we are making diploma graduates, engineers, and postgraduates employment ready. We specialize in non-IIT, non-NIT students. We specialize in students where the students get degree from the college, which is important. Yes, it's an academic degree, which is important. That gives you credibility. With degree, you need a skill. All the more in today's time. So degree and skill makes a student crack the interview and become day one job ready. We have been awarded as a Best Startup Award at IIT Kharagpur in February 2020, just before the lockdown. We have impacted more than 20,000 students in India with more than 80 plus institutes we have been part of for our 12 courses that we run in the ethos of knowledge, practice, and mentoring. Personally speaking, I have done my BTech from Pune University, done my MTech from Thapar University, Patiala, and MBA from INSEAD, France. I have spent 14 years in consulting and parallelly 17 years in education management, where I have mentored more than 8 lakh students in India and have made them employment ready. I am a teacher by heart. Whether I am talking about digital CV recruitment trends, or I am talking about corporate finance, or mechatronics, or analytics, or entrepreneurship, I always get excited talking to students, making them realize how a content can be converted into a skill. That's how me and my team have developed the ecosystem, and that's how I believe the students are loving us. Institutions are collaborating with us to make the students job ready in today's time and improve the brand of the university and the college. We have more than 120 mentors in the system. So there are 12 courses, 10 mentors in every course. Each student gets 3 mentors, as I told you. And every month we are adding 20 to 25 mentors in our system for various courses. You all can start following SkillEdge social media. The social media handles are given at the bottom of every slide. So social media handle is SkillEdge Official. Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Many of you if you don't know what is LinkedIn, today you will come to know about it. We will talk about it. So those who know can follow me or SkillEdge in LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. You get to know a lot of things. We do a lot of live chats, podcasts. Many hiring managers hire SkillEdge students from our platform, and so on and so forth. Let's go ahead with the topic. We're going to learn 4 things today. What are the new norms? How are the job and internship scenarios are changing? How do you determine the hard versus soft skills in today's time? How are soft skills beyond GDPI? Soft skill is not only GDPI today, it's beyond GDPI. And in all, we understand, or we need to understand, what is business communication. Before I start, I just want to say one thing to all the students. Yes, 2020 has been a year. 2020 has been a year which is full of uncertainty and definitely this COVID-19. Yes. But the important point is Opportunities, as far as jobs is concerned, opportunities are there. As far as jobs are concerned, opportunities are there. Important is to know about those opportunities and prepare accordingly. You are an art student, commerce student, or an engineering student. What is important is to learn the opportunities and the associated skills. And that will make the difference when you sit for the interview. Whether you are from a IIT or whether you are from a different university, today the gap is not that much. What industries are looking is, do you have the relevant skill? So you have a degree, do you have the skill so that you can crack the interview and become day one job ready? With this note, let us start. Let us learn some of the very interesting points of current scenario. I am not a big fan of PPTs, so my presentation is not going to be long. It's going to be 7 to 10 maximum, 7 to 10 slides maximum. As far as the new norms of the jobs and internship scenarios are concerned, so I'm also a bit finicky about time, which means I would like my presentation to be within the time limit. So it's 5:30 right now. These 4 points I'm going to cover in 40 to 45 minutes, which means approximately 12 minutes per point I will take to explain, to share, and definitely if you have any questions based on any pointers, I'm happy to answer. All right? Okay, let's start. The first point is, what are the new norms? What are the new norms with respect to job or internship scenarios? Okay. There are 4 points to it, which I want to share in the next screen. So these are the 4 points which is driving the job scenario or the internship scenario. Let me explain one by one. Let me quickly explain the third and the fourth point. The third and the fourth point. The fourth point says income versus job. So third and fourth is a mindset. It's a mindset. When I say income versus job, it means in current scenario, we need to have an income mindset. We can't have. We need to have a job mindset. What does that mean? So when you have a job mindset, you typically think about salary. That you can't have right now. Because of COVID, every business, whether it's a startup or it's an MNC, whether it is a startup or it's an MNC, we are going through recession across the world, including India. So as a student, you need to have a income mindset through a job, not a job mindset. So you can't sit in the interview and expect the salary that you want. It's not going to happen. Be very clear as a student that I would like to get a job right now so that I can repay my loan, I would get an experience, or so and so forth. But it is important to have an income mindset rather than a job mindset. Yes, income from a job. Keep that in mind, very important. And interviewers do look for this kind of mindset when they are taking interview. Then we have a stop mindset. What is stop mindset? Stop mindset is the acronym for stop mindset is the acronym for STOP. It's an abbreviation for S means social distancing, T means traveling time, O means occupancy, and P means pollution. What does that mean? Social distancing is the new norm, whether you like it or not. In the job, 50% workforce will work from home, even if you are doing a manufacturing company, and 50% from the client side, that is from the office. So your ability to work from home will be checked in the interview. Do you have that attitude? Do you have that attitude that you can work without much monitoring? ऐसा होने वाला है. That is S, which is social distancing. Traveling time is going to reduce. Traveling time is going to reduce. Which means, again, you are expected to have a higher efficiency. You are expected to have a higher efficiency because your traveling time will be reduced. O means occupancy. Where you know that infrastructure wise, companies will not ask employees to come to the office now because occupancy will be 50%. 50% work from home, 50% from the office. And P means pollution. When you're traveling less, you will be less inclined for pollution, so your health will be considering much better. Again, the efficiency will be higher if your health is better. So what is happening with this stop mindset? The thing is, with social distancing, with less traveling time, with occupancy being reduced, and with pollution being impacted less, overall, whether you are a fresher or an experienced person, opportunities are less or few, but there are opportunities. And when you get those opportunities, you are expected to perform better because efficiency needs to be higher. So whatever we learn in academic degree and whatever skill we gather, we need to understand our efficiency needs to be more. And that is the new mindset expected in the job or internship. Whether you are doing a virtual internship or you are doing internship in the company, please understand one thing: during the interview or when you are doing that internship or the first 6 months of your job, you are expected to be high in efficiency because of the mindset that is being created of the current scenario. Let's talk about the first 2 points. What is less is more? In economic terms, less is more means ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा कम में से. How do you get more from less? That is called productivity. So when I'm talking productivity, how it is related to a student? One of the finest examples of that is pre-COVID, when you need to find a job, what we do, we give our resume to our training and placement department, right? TPO, training and placement officer, or we apply to portals, right? But now when opportunities are few, and that too, what kind of opportunities are there, we need to know that first. When opportunities are few, and from there we need to extract more, how do we do that? And the answer to that is, you do that not by physical CV, you do so by digital CV. This is what I'm going to explain in the next slide when I talk about the skill part. Today, the concept of physical CV is gone. You need to have a digital CV and a video resume. So every student needs to have one folder where there is a digital resume and there is a video resume. This is what is expected from the students. How do I make a digital resume? How do I make a video resume? That's a different topic altogether. Today, it's a knowledge session. Today, I am going to give you information, what is expected from the industry, so that you understand from an academic perspective, I am getting a degree, but I need to build a skill. That's what you have to think about. So one concept of less is more is, how do I build my digital resume so that I apply to limited opportunities and the probability of getting interview calls increases. Less is more. And the second point of less is more is, we don't have to learn everything to convert that into skill. No. Learn only that much that is needed to crack an interview. Learn only that much. That is it. And top it up with hands-on application or practice and have a mentor. That is what students are doing in SkillEdge. They are learning what is required in a particular job title. Then they are topping up with practice exercises. And then you need to have a mentor. That is called as, how do I get the maximum from minimum effort? Less is more. It is like when you have an exam, you pick up that chapter first where you know that questions will come, so that you at least get the minimum marks of passing. Same logic. And the first point, technology trends. Now, it's a very big topic. I can go on speaking about it for hours and hours. But just to tell you, whether you are in agriculture, whether you are a BA, BCom, BBA, engineer, MBA, PGDM, or a science graduate or an MSc, make sure that you have one skill which is related to technology. So for example, if you are a BCom, then do you understand modeling? Do you understand Power BI if you are a BCom student? Do you understand and do you have a hands-on experience? You are an MBA student from an HR perspective. Do you understand analytics from the HR perspective and have you practiced that before? You are a civil engineer. Do you have a hands-on application on StatPro? You are an MSc in physics student. Do you also understand, for example, analytics? Because you can do a combination of that. So technology is very important in every resume, every digital resume. An understanding of technology, because why? You can ask me why on every question. That's how students interact with me every day. Because data is the most valuable asset of every industry in today's time. Whether you are working in a pharmaceutical industry, or you are working in an agriculture industry, or you are working in an IT company, at the end of the day, data is the prima facie that every individual is working on data. And that's how technology has become the absolute important norm in everybody's resume. As simple as Microsoft Excel. Do you understand how do you work in Microsoft Excel on various industries? Durgesh, we will talk about chemical engineering a bit later because that's a big topic. But I can tell you one thing, chemical engineering plus mechatronics, that you can always work for. That you can always work for, Durgesh. I repeat, all of you start following SkillEdge official Instagram and you can ping me your question. Happy to help you. But my point over there would be, make sure you have, as simple as I told you, Microsoft Excel. Do you know how do you work in a Microsoft Excel in a retail industry, in an e-commerce industry? Absolutely, it's very important, right? And it's across the spectrum, whether you are a microbiology student or you are a chemical engineer. At the end of the day, do you know Excel? But not random Excel, only know that much which is required for a job. Practice through industry exercises, not random. Then have a mentor. This is the first point which I have told you. These are the new norms. This is the mindset that is expected from everybody. And one of the common things, now I'm going into the next topic, which is the next point. We need to build on now on the soft skill part. So let's deal with that. So if I am in your place and I'm hearing this, first thing I learned that there is a new norm which I need to be careful about. And I need to keep in mind few things when I'm sitting for the interview. Internship or an interview. I need to understand the income mindset. I need to have the stop mindset back of our mind. I need to have a digital resume and a video resume. I need to learn only that much, what is required in that job, as well as practice it with exercises and have a mentor. And finally, I need to understand the technology part of it. A bare minimum technology has to be part of my digital resume. I repeat, today is a knowledge session. Just keep on hearing how to do this, how can we start, from where we should do. All these answers will be given to you later on. But today it's all about knowledge. You can all ping me individually and you can all be a part of the various courses that students are doing. Obviously, it's a short session of 40 minutes. So I'm giving you knowledge today. So let's learn as much as possible. And then you can ping me and we can be a part of the course that you have. As I said, Janil and Harshraj, sorry. As I said, there are ways and means to create video resume, how it is created, in which format. This is a separate topic altogether. Please ping me on social media. Happy to help. Let's go to the next point. Swaraj, it's SkillEdge official. I would request Indranil sir to ping on the chat box the social media handle. Let's talk about this academic-based skilling. What is this academic-based skilling? So as a student, the stage one is knowledge. As a student, the stage one is knowledge. Stage two, you know what? What is important today? So you have a knowledge. You need to have an interdisciplinary approach. What is interdisciplinary approach? So you are an engineer and you tell that I am a mechanical engineer. A mechanical engineer needs to also understand the computer science. That is interdisciplinary. A chemical engineer must also know how to make presentation. A microbiology student must also know how to manage data in Excel file. That is interdisciplinary approach of learning, which is what students are doing in SkillEdge, in addition to their academic degree. Once you have that knowledge, which is content, which is interdisciplinary in nature, then you need to practice. As you're doing that, you are becoming closer to become ready to crack the interview and become day one job ready. And finally, there is mentorship in stage 4. So by now, I'm sure you realize if you have to gather a new skill, you have to have these stages, which is content, which is interdisciplinary in nature, practice, and mentorship. So by now, as a student, what have you learned? You have learned two major things. The mindset which is required in today's time as the new norm of jobs/internship. Number two, the science of learning and the science of skilling in today's time. No random certification, no random going to Udemy and doing something. Why? Because you don't know how much of the content in Udemy is going to be useful for you. You don't know which questions to practice. Are they industry driven? And is there a mentor with you to guide you? How do you answer questions in the interview? And that's going to be important. Let's go to the next point. Yes, this is the second point. When I talk about hard versus soft, so you understand one thing, that the hard skill, is part of the programming part, the problem solving part. So one thing you need to realize, if you check out any job requirement, so what are the three levels are there? There is a job title, then there is responsibilities, and then you have the skills, correct? Now, when you check the skills, so there is a job title, then there are roles and responsibilities anywhere, right? And then you have the skills. When you see those skills, one of the common skills you will find in most of the job titles or in all of the job titles is problem solving, critical thinking, right? Yes. So problem solving is a part of the programming aspect. When I say programming, it's not always computer programming. The problem solving is you are given a problem, whether the problem is about acquiring a customer, whether the problem is about making a building, or whether the problem is about finding when you are in a pharmaceutical industry, finding the right mixture of the ingredient, something like that. It's a problem. Do you have the problem solving ability? That's a part of the hard skill. Now, some part of it you have learned in your academic degree, and some part of it you have to learn externally as a part of your skill development. And that is how students are engaging with SkillEdge. We now go into the softer part of it, In India, out of 10, 8 engineers do get job, or 8 graduates or postgraduates do get job based on soft skill. Once the hard skill is cleared. So what is so important about soft skill? Soft skill today is not about only GDPI. No. Soft skill today is beyond GDPI. GD is group discussion, PI is personal interview. Soft skill today involves, guys, listen to this very carefully. Soft skill today involves, and it starts from, how do you build digital resume? How do you build your video resume? That's number 1. That is soft skill. Number 2, how do you crack interviews digitally? Yes, we have to learn that. How do we crack interviews digitally? Number 3, how do I make effective presentation? That is part of soft skill. Number 4, conflict management. Conflict is the reality of life. Conflict is not argument. Conflict is where there is a difference in opinion. As a fresher, you always get that. As an experienced person, you always get that. We get that in our home. Conflict is the reality of life. How do you manage conflict is what you have to learn. Can we learn that? Yes. Many times it is said, by age you will learn. But that's also true. But if you have to differentiate yourself from your competition, you have to learn that right now. Conflict management, ability to say no. You got to realize we are never taught how to say no. We are always taught how to say yes. Digital teamwork. There is a teamwork, but there is a digital teamwork. Because 50% of the time you will be sitting at home working. I told you in the initial slide. That's the fourth point, conflict management. And the fifth point of soft skill is time management. Can we learn time management? Everybody comes and says, you need to manage your time. But can we learn time management? Is there a framework? Yes, there is a framework. The most common framework is Eisenhower matrix. Students are learning that with SkillEdge. Now, if you learn all these things and tell the interviewer that, you know what, I have learned these things, you put that in your digital resume and tell that how have you applied in industry exercises. Just imagine how confident you will be in cracking that interview and becoming day one job ready. This is what soft skill is all about in today's time. What do you mean by networking and being digital in this particular slide? What do you mean by networking and digital? So networking means, do you have your LinkedIn profile? Now, LinkedIn profile you need to learn. Many of you may have a LinkedIn profile. Many of you may not have a LinkedIn profile. Some of you. Even if you don't understand anything in today's session, but you only remember LinkedIn, just go back and make your LinkedIn profile. But those who have the LinkedIn profile, you need to also learn how to manage LinkedIn profile. This is what you learn in the soft skill program of SkillEdge. All these 5-6 things. And when I say being digital, yes, it is about who all are there. Who all are there in your LinkedIn profile. For example, if you connect me on LinkedIn, then you also are part of 920 CEOs who are part of my network. And how are you making those network useful for you? For example, if you see a article, do you like it? Do you put your opinion? That is called being digital. Do you have a GitHub profile? I don't know how many of you have heard GitHub. Many of you must have heard. But do you maintain that GitHub profile? So what I'm trying to tell all of you guys over here, these are all part of soft skills and we need to learn that now. Soft skill is not about speaking in English. Soft skill is not about speaking in only English, and that too during GD or PI. Those days are gone. It is important to manage your digital network. It is important to manage your digital resume with your LinkedIn profile and with your GitHub. Durgesh, there are many things that I can elaborate, but as you can understand, with the scarcity of time right now in today's session, I need to cover a few more points, but all these things will be taken care of as we go along in our subsequent sessions with you. And as you can always ask me individual questions on the social media. I'm happy to answer. But just to elaborate, just to give you an idea, Durgesh, that GitHub is a repository, technical repository where people keep their codes, where any interviewer can go and check your GitHub profile, that how have you maintained your profile. Is it only one day all the projects are maintained? That's not a great idea. And that's how I am looking into the GitHub profile of 500 to 600 students every day. Because students are told to maintain GitHub profile, but they are not told how to do so. That's the gap. Second point, hard versus soft. Is this point clear to a large extent? I'm sure you will have questions now, but hold on to their questions. You can ask me at the end maybe, or if you want to ask me individually, please ping me on social media, happy to answer. But I want a quick yes, no, maybe. Is it clear hard versus soft? And how soft skills are important now in order to crack the interview and become day one job ready. Whether you are in first year or in final year, doesn't matter. It's important for everybody. And the preparation is important to start right now. That's also important. So I want to talk about, when I want to give you a glimpse. I want you to give you a glimpse about what? I want to give you a glimpse about 2-3 things. In fact, 2 things. You remember I told you one of the key things in soft skill is what? Is about how do you make effective presentation digitally? Whether you are an IT engineer or you are an analyst, you have joined a company, or you are a marketing professional, you will be asked to make digital presentation. And how do you make digital presentation? Has anybody taught you how do you make a presentation? That's what you have to learn within soft skill. I want to give you a small example of it through this slide. You know what digital presentation in today's time is called? It's called storytelling. And how do you do storytelling? Do you remember our grandmother and grandfather used to tell us stories? And there are 1 or 2 stories we still remember. Have you ever thought, why do you still remember those stories? The answer to that is, those stories had a structure. उनमें एक structure होता था, उनमें एक तरीका होता था. Do you also realize why sometimes we like Narendra Modi speaking? Or you may have your own orators. You may have your own favorite orator or speaker whom you like listening to. Have you ever thought, why do we like listening to these people? You know what? There is a science of digital presentation. There is a science of storytelling. As a student, if you learn, your presentation will also be as effective as possible. Obviously, you have to practice that, and it will not be dependent on any language. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. Yes, they hit the right emotions. They have a proper format, but how they hit the right emotions? How could they do the proper formatting? You know what? There is a science for it. And the science is called, today you are going to learn that already. The science is called the golden circle. What is golden circle? The concept of golden circle. The golden circle says, now this is what you have to remember. Every time you make a presentation, first you need to talk about why. Always talk about why of a subject. Do you remember? Do you realize when I started the presentation, I spoke why you need to listen to me. I spoke about why. Then you need to talk about how. How it's going to be important. I spoke about why first. Then I spoke about how. And then eventually I spoke about what it is. What is a soft skill? What all things are there in soft skill? I spoke about the why and the how and the what. And that is called as concept of golden circle. That is called as the art of storytelling. Now, it's a very, very famous rule followed by Steve Jobs to Narendra Modi. This is a structure in which things are taught. This is a structure in which you learn effective presentation. When you put that into practice, your ability to crack an interview, your ability to crack a presentation improves to the next level. It's a small thing. This is how students are learning in SkillEdge. That's what I want to highlight. This is how students are learning in SkillEdge. As a part of the soft skill learning, because these all are soft skill. Let's go ahead. So when you do presentation, when you do storytelling based on the art of golden circle, I repeat once again, guys, today it's only the time to listen. That's it. It's a knowledge session today. Now with further sessions that we will have, then you will convert this knowledge into practice. Then only it will be a part of the skill, and then only it will be a part of your digital resume. Then only you will be able to crack the interview and become day one job ready. What does this slide show? That any presentation basically follows a curve. It follows a curve. As you can see on the slide, there is why, there is how, and the how takes to the climax, and then there is what. This is how any interview, this is how any presentation, whether you are a fresher or an experienced, can make your presentation effective and optimized. Yes, we have to learn that. I'm just giving you one example. I'm giving you an example of business communication. If you realize, I'm giving you an example of the fact that how soft skill has moved beyond GDPI. There is one more point I raised. I'm into my last 10 minutes of the presentation. So bear with me for another 10 minutes. There is another concept called as professional email writing. As a student, as a fresher, it is important to learn. Why? Because now in digital times, we are all going to do things on email. When I say things, as a professional world, because WhatsApp is not professional till a certain time. Professional email writing is something that we have to learn. There are 6 steps to professional email writing. There are do's and don'ts to professional email writing. I'm not going to explain that today. I'm not going to do an exercise with you today. But I just want to tell you that this is an important aspect of your soft skill. Also, this is the 4th point that I told you within soft skill, right? I told you digital resume. I told you the fact that you need to have, how do you crack interviews? How do you do effective presentation? So as simple as when I talk about how do you crack interviews, there is a very common question in interview. Tell me about yourself. The first question, what kind of answer you give? Do you give answers which are there in Google? And that too digitally? And this you should know that in digital interview, your content is very important. Why? You can see that, right? In your classes also. Some professors you like because of the content, some professors you don't like. But there was a difference when it used to happen in physical environment. Same logic when you take the interview. Your content needs to connect with the interviewer immediately, which means you need to practice and learn. That is important. Same logic. The 4th point, professional email writing, conflict management. So what are the steps of professional email writing? There are basically 6 steps. I'm not going to explain right now, but I'm just going to show you the 6 steps. Why you are writing an email. At what point you should write an email. Do you write an email every time you get a reply or every time you are asked to write an email? Is there a rule when to write and when not to write? Yes. We need to learn that. We need to understand to whom we are writing, to whom we need to do CC and to whom we need to do BCC. In our culture, we are never taught how do we express ourselves in shorter sentences. We are always taught speak more. We are also always taught write big essays. You know, Nibandh we used to write in our school days. But we never taught how do you tweet in Twitter. Tweeting a Twitter and writing an essay is much easier than tweeting in a Twitter if you want to make somebody follow your handle. Think over it, very logical. But that we have to learn now. How do we express ourselves in a concise format? Many times I have seen that emails, there are spelling mistakes. There is no proper salutation at the top, at the bottom. We call it proofread. That needs to be done. There are proper email etiquettes that needs to be followed. Are we aware of that? Have we been trained on that? And you know what, guys? This is what it is that makes you different from the other people during the interview and when you are starting your job. And you know, it doesn't depend whether it doesn't matter whether you have come out of IIT or you have come out of any other university. What is important is, do you have the skill? That is important. You have a degree, you have a skill, express yourself and be a part of one of the best companies in the world. Whether it's a startup, whether it's an MNC, doesn't matter. Have you spent time in learning these things? And that's going to be important. So there are 6 steps of writing professional email. So what I've told you right now is the first 3 points, if you remember, which were there in fact, all the 4 points which were there as a part of your learning today. Number 1, new jobs and internship trends, scenarios. Number 2, hard versus soft skill. Number 3, soft skill beyond GDPI. Number 4, business communication. So you have learned the fundamentals and the knowledge behind these words. I am not saying you know everything by now. No, you don't. This is just the beginning. This is my last slide. I repeat, all of you to follow SkillEdge on social media, because you will learn a lot by following us, by being a part of our courses. And yes, going forward, if we get a chance, we will definitely we'd love to run courses in Parallel University at various capacities. That's how we are doing across India. So the last point is on-campus and off-campus placement preparation. What is that? So there is one point which is mentioned in the NEP, National Education Policy, the recent NEP which has come, right? National Education Policy. And we have been following NEP before NEP came into existence. We have been following that, right? And what's that? What's that? So we follow the ACT framework. We follow the ACT framework. What is the ACT framework? Shri, if you want me to repeat all the steps in professional email writing, okay. I'm going to quickly repeat the steps since you have asked for it. But believe me, by hearing me 2 times will not help you. You need to practice that with some exercises, and there are much more detailing into it. But since you have asked, I'm going to repeat that for you. Identify the goals, why you are writing what you are writing. Consider the audience. You need to have a concise format of what you are writing. You need to definitely check your email before sending. To whom you are writing, BCC and CC. Carbon copy or blind carbon copy. There are proper etiquettes that you have to follow. And finally, you need to remember to follow up. So these are the 6 steps. There are details of every step, and there's a practice exercise that you need to do. I was into the last slide where I was explaining the ACT framework. So what is ACT framework? Now, ACT framework is, this is what NEP says, National Education Policy says, any student who wants to take a placement from the campus or off campus needs to follow the ACT. ACT is, A is aptitude, C is communication, T is technology. And all 3 I have covered today. Aptitude. The interesting part about aptitude is there are only 7 chapters and 5 topics within each chapter. 35 topics. You practice 10 questions of every topic. 350 questions in approximately 30 days. You are ready in aptitude. Communication, I told you about soft skill. Technology, I told you about problem solving. This is the framework that you need to follow in order to crack any on-campus or off-campus interview. See, one thing is always there. You will get a job. But do you want to get the job that you want to do? That's going to be where you need to develop the skill. It's not about any job that you want. It's about the job that you want to do. And that is how your degree has to be complemented with the skill that you have to gather. And that is how students are learning in SkillEdge at every level, whether you are in first year, second year, or in the final year. So guys, I am done. Yes, you have come over here, which only means that you have taken your first step toward becoming day one job ready from various perspectives. I have tried to explain what's happening in the industry, what is expected from every student of every academic degree, and what is the mindset that is required to be ready for new age skills. That's what we talk about. This is the social media handle. I repeat, SkillEdge Official at Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Happy to help you at any level. Please ping me on social media if you have any questions. You want to talk to me one-on-one, either to me or one of my skill advisors will get in touch with you. Connect on the social media with your contact details, maybe on Instagram or Facebook, and one of the skill advisors will get in touch with you and help you in terms of identifying how do you want to develop the skill and what are the skills you need to develop in order to become employment ready. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I always say this before I end my session. Passion is never enough. Neither is skill. I think that's how I believe personally, where I individually or personal level, I keep on learning new things and sharing that with my students in various institutes, universities, and so on and so forth. And happy to see you all over here. Would love to get connected with you more often. Absolutely, very much affordable, and that's the way we are working. So it is very affordable, and yeah. So that's how we are creating the ecosystem. Happy to connect with all you people as many times as possible, and we cherish your support in our journey of redefining skilling.